Hi guys, sorry about that. Just as we were about to go live, the software went, decided to run home to mama. So we kind of had to wait for things to sort themselves out. So sorry about that. Sometimes you just have to deal with what you get. And today we seem to be getting a lot. So it's been an interesting week leading up to the holidays. It's been very busy. And of course, now with this new variant, there's a whole bunch of new restrictions coming up because it's spreading rather quickly, although it doesn't seem to be as serious, which is a good thing. But it still means that things are going to be a little bit different again this year, but well, whatever. Life will sort itself out in the long run anyway. So come what may, everybody's going to have a Merry Christmas. From my lips to God's ears.
Especially people watching.
Especially people watching, I hope so, because he's eyeballing the stack of giveaways for today. We have a bunch of them. We have some beautiful Dynasty Brush black gold sets to give away. They're rake brushes and filbert waves. Yeah. So they're nice. And I think there's a deerfoot in that set too. And there's also 3 sets of Dynasty Faux Squirrel wave brushes, angled waves and flat waves that are going out too. So there are 6 total for today. Just thought we needed a little extra for this last live before the Christmas holiday, as we're not live on Christmas Day.
For obvious reasons.
Everybody's going to have better things to do, lots of family to see and food to eat and just enjoy the holiday. He's always thinking of his stomach. Always.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. It's just hard to keep up with you.
Did you fix your calendar?
I did. Because we were like out by a day.
Out by a day.
Yeah.
So are we doing a live on New Year's Day?
I don't know.
Judging by
the calendar, yes, but I don't know.
Wait, is there 31 days in December?
Yes.
Okay, then yes, we are doing a live on New Year's Day.
Maybe. We'll see. Maybe we'll have a New Year's party. Maybe that'd be fun. Have it on New Year's Eve.
Have it on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, that would be fun.
Coming from Dodge, Texas.
Oh my goodness.
Couldn't be.
It'd be warm there. It'd be warm there.
It'd be warm.
Yeah. It's funny. This week I got a pile of Christmas cards. I think I've gotten more Christmas cards this year than I've gotten in the last 5 years combined. Wonderful little notes and cards and little things pop up in the mail every other day from family and friends and whatnot. The other day I went down to the mailbox and there was a package in there and I thought, I didn't know what this was or who it was from. Anyway, I opened it up and there was a lovely card in there that says, "Warm wishes for the happiest of holidays." Pretty little card and a lovely little note from Brenda Owen. Brenda, thank you so much. It was so sweet. It was such a lovely thing to find in the mailbox because it came with this. I love this. This is just the coolest cookie press ever. So I'm
Sugar Skull Sugar Cookie.
I'm Christmas baking this week. This thing's getting used. I know it's not Christmassy, but it's still getting used. This is an awesome, Brenda, thank you so much. That's very sweet of you to think of me. I love it. And this will go with the rest of the bazillion Christmas cards that are upstairs, in the dining room. So thank you so much. I do appreciate you thinking of me. And that was very sweet indeed. We are going to be painting Going Home with the Tree. I I called it that because there's a particular memory that goes along with this little red truck, except the truck in question was a 1933 baby blue Ford short box with a wooden floor. It was a beautiful old truck. And we used to take the truck and go off and get our Christmas tree in the winter. And that was back when we didn't have artificial trees.
You had to go.
We had to go get our own tree. So we went back in the bush, take the truck and go get the thing, and we would always be going home with the tree. So I have a thing for trucks this year. Those little red trucks. I got ornaments. I have little truck wrapping paper. I mean, I'm just kind of obsessed with the little red truck this year. So everybody and their dog seems to be painting it, and I couldn't help myself. So I painted a little red truck. It was fun. It's not a difficult piece to paint. I put in some pretty lettering and a little bit of greenery because I got to have my leaves and whatnot in there because I like the greenery. And of course, red berries and my ever-present snowflake stencil. I do love my snowflakes. You have to, in this house, you have to love flakes. There's more than a few.
Yeah.
So
So flaky.
we're a little on the flaky side.
There's Brenda Owen.
Oh, did she miss? Brenda, I know you missed. I know you missed my little thank you. Thank you so much for the cookie press.
Oh no, she says.
Oh, did she?
You're so welcome. Just a small token. Wanted to know you were considered a dear friend.
Aw, that's so sweet. Well, you got me right in the heartstrings, believe you me. So it's easy to do these days. I get a little misty at the holidays. I get a little misty. I'm one of those sympathetic criers. You know, I go to SDP, Marlene. My dear sweet Marlene got her CDA the last time I was at SDP, and it was her second attempt, and she was so excited and nervous and terrified and whatnot. And when she found out she got her CDA, she was so excited. And so I was standing in the back with everybody else, leaking like a sieve. And I do the same thing when I find little things like this in the mailbox because, you know, I'm a sook. So... So, yeah, I especially at Christmas time in particular, I'm mush. So we're going to paint this awesome little piece. I love this. I love the truck. It's one of my favorite pieces this year. The lettering is not a font that I was able to find. I actually found this as a graphic. And so I had to purchase the graphic in order to use the lettering because I could not find the font anywhere, not for love nor money. So this is a licensed graphic that I had to purchase the license for. So just in case anybody's looking for the lettering, wants to change it, I can probably give you something close if you wanted something else like Joyeux Noël or Feliz Navidad. I can come close, but it won't be exactly like this. And I'd be happy to do that for you if you want me to. The lettering is pretty straightforward. We're just going in with warm white, a little bit of Bahama blue. The background is a lot of fun. So we're going to get started with that.
Buffalo check?
It's what?
Buffalo check.
Yes, it's a buffalo check background.
Could you use plaid?
Absolutely. They can't have plaid yet because it's not on the website.
Oh, right.
We have a new stencil coming. Well, actually, it's here. But Sandy and I are both working on projects that use it so that you'll be able to see it in actual use. And we need to play with it a little bit too. So, but we do have a really pretty plaid stencil that we just got in. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, this is not a plaid shirt.
That's not a shirt. That's buffalo plaid. Buffalo check, actually.
Buffalo check.
Yeah. I love buffalo check.
I like plaid. Lori C. Tracy wanted to thank you for the funny and insightful things you post for us. They make me smile and sometimes laugh out loud. They definitely brighten my day.
Oh, that's good to know. Good to know. They brighten my day. I like to start my day with either a giggle or something thought-provoking or whatever. But as long as it's positive or makes you laugh or whatever, that's the most important thing. I mean, yesterday my thought for the day was one silly thought first thing in the morning can make your whole day wonderful. So I can't remember what today's is.
Oh, that one we saw on Instagram there.
Which one?
Knowing what love is.
Oh my goodness, I forgot to write that down.
That was such a good one.
That was a great one. I forgot to write it down. Now I have to go find it again because that was just flippin' awesome. The fellow that was interviewing a room full of 6-year-olds.
Yes.
Yeah. And he asked them to tell him what they believed love was. And most of them were what you generally would expect.
Yeah.
But there was a couple that were just, wow.
My favorite one was the little boy.
Yeah.
What was it? Love is Christmas Day, stopping unwrapping presents and just listen.
Yeah.
When all the unwrapping of
Is
presents
done, yeah.
is done, just stop and listen.
Just stop and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just, oh yeah, heartstrings.
That was a good one.
Yeah. I'm mushy enough. You don't need to be giving me more mush.
Someone send me cookies, please. I can't get into the baking mood this year.
I think everybody is kind of struggling with that this year. I don't know why. But, oh my God, I managed to get tea everywhere. So, if you guys are ready to get started on our Going Home with the Tree, so am I.
All right, I gotta give me a second. Camera, you can bring it closer to you. There you go, perfect.
Wow. Got it the first time out.
There it is. Look at it, it's so bright and vibrant.
You gonna move the camera?
You're good to go.
Am I? Okay, good.
You gotta. That monitor's on a latency.
Oh, I'm sitting here waiting for it to
You're
change.
seeing it as they see
Okay.
it.
Oh my goodness.
It's not real time.
The elevator does not go to the top floor today. So this is a fun piece. The background is done with holly green, which I'm rather obsessed with this green this year. I know on camera it looks really quite dark, but this one is actually a little brighter than what you're seeing on the camera. We're using a buffalo check stencil. That's the 1-inch buffalo check for the background. And then the truck is done. I got a nifty little trick for painting this truck that sort of speeds up the process a little bit. And then, of course, we've got a fun little technique for the tree that's going to make your life a little simpler. And then we've got some stenciling for the background, and of course the splatter, and then some pretty little greenery.
If you got a burp, just let it out.
No, I'm just that's what you need, to hear somebody belch like a trucker. So we're going to get started on this one. I do like this one a great deal. So I've got mine base coated here. I've got 2 coats of holly green on here. Gotta find my tape. I cleaned up, can't find anything. So I've got a 1-inch buffalo check, and as is my habit, I like to take it off my surface. I try very hard not to make things perfectly square inside a surface. I just find it doesn't have the same effect. I love how this implies that design continues elsewhere. And I'm going to tape this in place. I do want to make sure that this is straight. Straight is important.
Uh-oh. JL has got a puppy.
Uh-oh, what did JL get for puppy?
What did she get for a puppy? And apparently he's a magnet for trouble.
Uh-huh. Is it a Mal?
It's a Malinois. You're in for more than just trouble.
So I'm using a little bit of lamp black, and I'm using a very light touch and moving circular fashion and changing directions frequently. So I go in one direction and then switch and go in the other direction. All that does is help distribute the paint more evenly through the stencil. And you will find that changing directions. It also helps you avoid having paint bleed under the stencil too. So if you're just going in one direction all the time, the paint tends to collect on one side of the stencil, and then once a certain amount accumulates, it will literally force the stencil up, and then you'll end up with fuzzy lines, lots of bleeding. You don't want that. So light touch, moderate amount of paint. You don't need that brush too wet. You want it almost dry.
Uh-oh. Border Collie Aussie Cross.
Oh. I'm sorry, that's not funny.
That's hilarious. That's like having a Mal on meth.
So once you've got the whole surface done, this is what I like to check. And that's why I tape it in place. I peel it back, have a look. I've got nice clean lines, nice crisp edges, everything is straight, the application is nice and even, so I can remove the stencil. And then I'm going to line it up on that row, like so, and then tape that in place. And then continue.
Did you get your fugly brushes in yet?
No, my brushes have not come in yet. The last time I checked, which was yesterday, the brush guys had some. I don't know how much. They tend not to last very long when they do get them in, so. But it's like everything else, you know, a lot of those materials have to come from elsewhere, overseas or down south. And so it's taking a while for material to make its way to where it needs to be. Now, as I was doing this, I whoopsied and my stencil moved. So I don't know if I really messed it up. A little bit right there. But by the time we're done, you won't be able to see it anyway.
What is the stencil buffalo check on the phone stand?
That one is in the 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
That's the smaller one. I have it here someplace.
It's one of these blue stencils.
It's one of these blue stencils. That narrows it down. It's this one. So this is the 1/2 inch that's on the phone stand.
The phone stand.
See, the phone stand. The line drawing for the phone stand is in the pattern.
There we go.
I think it's kind of cute. So I'm going to, again, line the stencil up, tape it in place. And again, circular fashion, change directions frequently. Now, even though I have this taped in place, it's a good idea to hold it down. I was stenciling and not really paying attention to what I was doing, and then lifted my hand off the surface, and that's why the stencil moved. If I was really, really smart, I'd have taped it down in 2 places, but nope.
Not today.
As I said, elevator doesn't always go to the top floor.
What size check would you use placing on the sled ornament?
On the little sled ornament, I would use just that 1/2 inch.
That's a small sled ornament? That's pretty small.
Well, it's not
You
much
could go
smaller
with
than
a
the
1/2
ornament,
inch.
than the phone stand. It's only 1/2 inch or so narrower. Not a big deal. It will work just fine.
I don't think you make a smaller one than 1/2 inch anyway.
No. There comes a point where it's just too difficult for the machine.
Yeah.
Even the plaid stencil was pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because there's so much detail, right? And not to mention the fact that stencils get more expensive the more detailed they are,
Yep.
because they spend more time in the laser, so. So I have repositioned this, and again, circular fashion, change directions. I know it sounds monotonous, but honestly, it makes a world of difference when you're doing this. If you change directions, your paint's going to be smoother, the paint is going to be more uniform, you're going to get a cleaner finish in the end, and you'll be happier with it if you take the time. And it's so much simpler when you line things up. Take the time to line things up properly, and whoops. There we go. And this buffalo check, I think buffalo check and the snowflakes are probably two of my favorites. I love the buffalo check for a lot of different things. I like using it on autumnal pieces, things for the fall. I just changed the color palette a little bit and it works beautifully. I've used it with baby blue, navy blue for spring, although I find it a little rustic for spring designs, but it does make a cute farmhouse sign.
I wonder how fast I could set up a third camera.
I don't know. How fast could you set up a third camera?
With my back right now? Probably not that fast, but...
Renee was bringing Dot in the other day.
Yeah.
And I know this is going to sound funny, but because her hindquarters don't work, you have to bring her into the house like she's a wheelbarrow sometimes. Anyway, he was bringing her in and she went one way and sent him in the other.
Yeah.
And he ended up wrenching his back. So he's kind of out of commission for the next little while. So he's a little on the sore side the last few days.
Very.
So.
I know I got a little tripod somewhere. Yeah, I do.
What are you doing now?
Well, somebody actually asked like how much paint you're putting on your brush.
Oh, so you're going to set up a palette cam.
Let's set up this quick little palette cam. Hopefully.
A little bit of luck. Good management. So there we go. So we've got our buffalo check in place. He's going to set up that palette cam. Then I'm going to show you a couple of tricks for loading your stencil brush.
Yeah.
Get that out of the way. And I'm going to clear off this palette because it's easier to see if it's a clean palette. And we'll get a clean stencil brush too. Wouldn't that be a novel idea? Ow. I spent about an hour this morning just cleaning stencil brushes and stencils.
No, nope.
Nope.
That ain't happening.
No? Okay.
Camera won't connect.
Ah.
Wonder if I can get away with it.
He's trying to figure out.
Can I get away with this? Plug this.
Who knows? So he's going to set that up and then we'll show you how to load the thing. So in the meantime, I'm going to take my dryer. I want to make sure that this is well and truly dry. Well, I made it for a minute anyway. So I'm going to grab my sanding sponge if I can find it. This is the problem. I tidy up and I can't find anything. So now that we've got that nice uniform finish on there, I'm going to go around and just distress the edges a little bit. and those corners. I kind of like to chew up the corners a little bit because they're going to take some of this next step. So I'm just lightly sanding. I'll show you. I like to wear away those corners. I like being able to see some of that, the wood through it at the corners and in a few spots along the edges. It's going to be a subtle difference by the time I'm done, but a difference nonetheless. And then I'm going to lightly sand the surface just to smooth it out so that I don't have any rough spots or anything anywhere. And then I'm going to wipe that down.
I don't think we need 4K resolution. On that
No, I
camera.
think we're good. So on the edges of this piece, we're going to need your big angled shader for this. The biggest one you're comfortable with. I'm using a 3/4 for this.
I'm gonna have to put it in the top left. It's gonna be quite small.
That's okay.
Unless you move the piece towards the palette. There you go.
Okay. So I'm just loading the brush as if to float, which is what we're going to do. And then I'm going to put nice big wide float around the edge of my piece, all the way around. This is not your typical pretty float.
There you go, people. How's that?
So hopefully, oh, look at that. He got it working. So a not so neat and tidy float all the way around the outside edge of our piece.
Just gotta tell my mom not to shake the table.
I'm trying not to.
It's mainly for that camera.
Yeah. I kind of figured.
That one would go for a damn.
So essentially what I want to do is create a nice wide shadow all the way around the outside edge of that. Don't worry too much if it's not perfectly blended. Think about all of the other things that are going in here. So I've got a line up here in this corner. I can make that go away. And just blend it out a little bit. Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs. There we go. That will do nicely. So. Now I've got that black on there. I'm just going to dry this real quick and then we'll do our next step. So while that is finishing drying, let's talk about loading that stencil brush. I usually start with a small puddle of paint, and you're going to pick up a small amount of acrylic. Not a lot, you don't need a lot. And then you're going to blend it on your palette straight up and down and change directions frequently. So when you swirl it like that, you get nice even distribution throughout the brush so that you don't have 10 tons of stuff on your brush. So then you can take your stencil and then it's a nice light touch. I don't have a ton of paint in this brush. If you think you might have too much paint, just simply blot a little bit on some paper towel or some shop towel. And then the application is simple. Circular fashion, change directions frequently. And then you'll end up with a nice, even distribution of paint. So you don't get bleeding, you don't get a ton of it. So it's not a lot of paint, and blend it well on that surface. so that you get a good distribution. You don't want to have a gob of paint on one side and another gob on the other side. You want to get a nice, even distribution of paint, and it will make your stenciling that much better. I will usually tell students, if you're going to be doing that and you're not sure, go to your paper towel, just swirl on your paper towel, and then go to your surface. It will save you a lot of headache and heartache. Better to put on too little than too much. And it's also super easy to clean this. When that brush is almost dry, I mean, look at that. So it's almost dry, and I don't worry about it drying in my brush because I can take a little hand sanitizer or a brush cleaner and I can clean that out there very quickly. So even though it's black and it's scary, it's fine.
I guess we're keeping the palette view again.
Okay. Hey, if we got it to work.
We're gonna have to move some things around.
We'll rearrange things a little bit. So the next color that we're going to work with is a little bit of Asphaltum. Don't act surprised, you knew it was coming.
Do you have a name brand for the sanding pad you're using?
I do. This is a 3M sanding pad. I get them at Home Depot, and it's a medium fine.
I might have to find them. I will check on Amazon France.
You know what's great about these is they have that nice soft sponge on the backside. They're washable and reusable.
Oh.
So you can just rinse them under warm water and they last forever. I think I buy one set a year. So I'm putting a little bit of Asphaltum on my palette.
Don't let Soot readjust the camera. Trying not to.
Soot will readjust whatever Soot wants to readjust. We've discovered that. So I'm just taking a little of that Asphaltum and I'm just going to go right over that black all the way around the outside edge. Just a loose float, nothing fancy. Don't worry about getting things utterly perfect. And you'll see why in just a second. I just want this sort of little dark and dirty at the edges. I think that's the best explanation, a little dark and dirty at the edges. And then I'm going to thin that out, nice and watery and wet. And I'm going to brush a coat of that over top of that green. Just loose, it's really, really thin. And all that's going to do is tone that green. Just gonna warm it up a little bit. That holly green has got a lot of blue in it, so it's going to be a little cooler. I'm looking at the camera. I see what you're seeing, and it looks almost a teal color on camera.
I set everything back to default, so.
Yeah, it looks kind of teal.
For some reason, our color settings were quite odd. Could either have too much blue or too much red. And got to the point where I couldn't fix it, so I just defaulted it and
called it good.
Called it good.
Okay, so we have our base coat of holly green. We did our stenciling with a little bit of lamp black and that buffalo check stencil, the 1 inch, and then shaded around the outside edges with some thinned lamp black. And then we let it dry, and then we did another shading with the Asphaltum, and then a wash of Asphaltum over the whole surface. And there you have it. Now you are ready to trace and transfer your line drawing on.
My friend gave me some rocks that are triangular shaped. She wants me to paint them like the poop emoji.
Okay.
What is this? What can we use instead of Asphaltum?
Instead of Asphaltum, you can use burnt umber. Burnt umber is a good toning color. I tend to gravitate towards Asphaltum because it's very transparent and I can control it very easily. So if you're going to use that burnt umber instead, use it in very small increments. Make sure it's thinned out well so that you have a lot of control over it.
Okay, bear with me. I'm going to hide the palette camera for now because I think I have a small issue that I can correct. Hopefully.
Hopefully. So tracing and transferring. I've got my line drawing here. I'm going to tape it in place. I like to tape my line drawings in place. I don't like shifting anything. Now I'm going to use a white graphite to transfer this. I like my white graphite. The one I'm using is by Deckwart. But I wanted to talk about tracing this. I already have mine traced, but I wanted to talk to you about this. The lettering. Now, someone asked me the other day about, oops, that's the wrong one. Having a hard time getting rid of graphite lines. I use this 0.38 Uniball Signo. It's the pen that I design with. It's the pen I draw with. It's my favorite. I use it for details and things. I do have them in the red. And this will save you a lot of frustration and heartache because you can see where you've been. So a nice light touch. Firm pressure. You don't need to press too hard because this MDF is actually, it's nice and rigid, so it's not a big deal. And having that ultra fine point, that 0.38, instead of a stylus, I do not like tracing with a stylus. I never have, mainly because I find the lines it leaves are very thick and they're difficult to get rid of. So I use my red Uniball to trace with, and this is the result. You get nice, fine, thin lines. I missed a line. So when you're tracing, take your time, firm pressure, and if you use that red pen with a fine tip, the reason I like these Uniballs is because of that stainless steel ball. I don't get sticking, I don't get stop-start marks, what have you, but I do get nice, crisp, clean, fine lines. So these are a lot easier to get rid of in the end. Because that drives me bananas, trying to get rid of white graphite lines on a dark surface. And the one that I use, I keep missing that, not having the right amount of graphite underneath it. That's the third time I've done that. Elevator. There we go. So look at how nice and fine that is. And I'm able to see where I've been. Okay, I got all of those lines, so now I know it's complete. So I can go ahead and paint that lettering in, but tracing it on with a fine point pen instead of a stylus is what makes the difference, having that nice thin fine line. It's a whole lot easier to get rid of those. So that's what I wanted to say about that graphite.
There we go.
So through the magic of television.
A boom.
A boom.
And pellet cam's coming right back. There we go.
So we're going to start with, I've got my truck
Where
already
is
base
Bob?
coated. Where is Bob? Bob is in his box.
Bob's
Right here.
Never too far.
He's never far. Oops, he just slid down inside. There's Bob. Bob's home. Surprised he's not running across the screen.
Oh my god, someone ate Bob?
Nope.
Oh, there's Deb.
Hi, Miss Deb.
She's probably been here for a while. I've been busy sorting cameras.
Miss Sandy probably won't be here today because her son is coming home for the holidays. So she's going to the airport.
Aha! She's busy.
She's busy. She's got important stuff to do.
Do you buy pen at Staples?
No, I actually order mine from Japan. They're Japanese ink. And so I bring them in a couple of cases at a time. We do have some left on the website, I believe.
I would hope so because they're stock.
Yep.
Not so much of the red ones.
We have the red, the white, and the black.
I'm not seeing too many reds. Oh yeah, there's a few.
There's a few. So we're going to start with our, good grief.
What type of paper is your line drawing on? Paper?
Mine is, believe it or not, just straight copy paper.
No special weight.
I don't use any special weight. I just use the cheapest copy paper I can get my hands on. I print my line drawings on that.
Just not the glossy stuff.
Yeah, I just, like I said, inexpensive copy paper works, I found works the best, so.
Amazon has them, yeah.
Yep.
When you base coat the wreath, did you stipple it on?
No, I'm going to show you actually how I did that. So, I'm going to start with the wreath. I might as well, because I got the green out. So I'm just going to take a little bit of antique green. I'm just using a round brush to just pop a little color into there.
I bought all 3 pens.
I have an order in for more of all of them.
Yeah.
Because they coming from Japan. I found you can't get Uniball Signos at Staples, but they're not the same.
There's 212 people currently watching.
Nice. So this is going home with the tree. So we're just going to put a little antique green on our wreath. And we're going to do the same thing to the leaves, to those holly leaves.
Antique green looks brown.
Yeah, it does on camera. I don't know why. But by the time I'm done, it looks green. I think I should have grabbed a smaller round for these leaves, but that's okay. The antique green is a little on the transparent side, so I can still see my line drawings right through it, so.
Oh, not just yawn blind.
She was funny this morning.
Okay.
Getting Miss Dot into her wheelchair is an interesting event in the morning. Yes, it's an interesting endeavor. So I've got just one thin coat. I don't worry too much about getting these fully opaque. I just try to get it in the shape of the leaf.
Is it green now? It does look brown.
Yeah, well, it's
very brown. Why? Why must you be brown?
Don't know. I love the holly leaves, and I love this green for this. We are going to use a very yellow green for the highlights and a very green for the shading. So they will look green by the time we're done.
It looks brown. Why?
I have no idea. So I'm going to let those greens dry, but I'm going to grab a little bit of warm white. And we're going to base out our berries with the warm white. Good heavens.
White balance? Is it the white balance?
He's playing guessing games with the color software. So I'm using just a small rigger, a small round will do this too, to base coat the berries. Anytime I have a red berry, I like to put a coat of white underneath, simply because it keeps the berries looking nice and bright.
I have no idea why that green looks so brown. Could be just one of those colors.
It could be, although I use this color all the time.
That red's really red though.
Yep. It is very red.
Excuse me.
But well done.
Are your filters on again. Do I have any filters on this?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that software. That's why you're here.
This is your job.
I'm the paint lady. You're the computer guy.
All right, who said check my filters? They get a prize.
Was it your filters? Maybe? Wowzers, Batman. Is that a truck ever red?
Yeah, it's still kind of brown. But there was a filter on there for some reason.
Yep. Well, it is a brownish green, so let's talk about this wreath. This is actually a really simple technique. And it's one of those things where I'm going to do it and you're going to look at me and go, really? Because it's not, oh my goodness, get some paint out of that bottle. So I have a couple of different sized angled shaders here. Got a I'm going to work with a 3/8 for this. So I'm going to double load my brush, which means I'm going to pick up a little of that antique green on the heel of the brush, which on that back corner. And I'm going to pick up some of that matcha green on the toe of the brush. So I'm going to have this.
I'm going to bring brightness down.
Woo, there we go. So I've got a nice little double load on there, and I'm going to blend those two together so that I have a bright green on one side and the darker green on the other. And then we're going to start and move.
Is it green now?
Move some stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of green.
Kind of green. So we're going to start right here, middle of the bottom of the wreath, and we're going to tap like this. And I'm just holding the brush on the chisel edge so that I have these little bits.
I wonder if there's a filter on this camera too.
Don't know.
Wow. Why does it automatically do that?
I don't know.
Boom.
So I'm essentially making this leaf or this wreath a little fuzzy.
Cool.
And then we're going to come over to the other side and we're going to do it this way.
I told you to check your filters because that was the problem last time. Fair enough.
Lights are on.
No, I'm home.
So again, I'm just making little stipples like so. It's super easy. Just keep loading those two colors on that brush. And just tap and pull. And it's a really short little stroke. If you go over the bow, that's okay, because we're going to come back in and paint that anyhow. If at any time you feel it's getting a little too dark, then just pick up a little more of the lighter value on there. Or it's be out of focus here a bit.
Out of focus?
A little bit. So there's my wreath. It's super easy. It is such an easy way to do a fast little wreath. Gives you all of the texture. And you only had to use one brush and two colors to get all of that texture. So, et voila. Super simple, right? So our truck is base coated with country red. You can use tomato red. You can use any more opaque red that you want to. I like tomato red or country red. Those tend to be my go-to, those two reds. And I like to shade them. You can use a Tuscan red to shade. You can use, well, you can use any dark red you want, really. But I like to use my base color mixed with a little bit of lamp black. And so this is where we're going to create sort of a deep purplish red, I guess. So we need a nice dark red for this. And I'm telling you, lights are on, nobody's home. So we're going to start with our shading right here along the hood underneath the windshield. Darkest value towards the hood.
Every time the swirly screen goes off, I feel like I'm in the middle of an Austin Powers movie. I didn't realize that until you brought it up.
I would not have thought of that. And then we're going to come around the headlights with that same color. And you might notice that there's a little shadow that goes underneath our wreath. Nice part is that this shadow does not have to be perfect. If we need to go back in and touch up the wreath, we can do that.
It's fine, don't change it.
Oops. My little dee-dee-dee, this thingy is on again.
Going nuts now. Twilight's on screen.
What was that? What was the movie? It reminded me of. Thought about that the other day. Vertigo. Alfred Hitchcock movie.
Ah.
That's what it reminded me of. Not sure why. And then that same shadow is going to come along the edge of the bumper.
I was thinking old Batman series.
Oh yeah, that too. So that shading color is used everywhere. In here on the box of the truck to set it back a bit.
Gee willikers, Batman.
Gee willikers. Seriously.
Yeah.
Holy hockey pucks, Batman. That's my favorite.
Adam Hui. Adam West.
Adam West.
The Batman.
The Batman, yes, indeed.
No, I'm sorry. George Clooney, your Batman suit had nipples on it. You do not get to be Batman anymore. You just know. No. The suit did not require nipples.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Oh,
George Clooney makes a good Bruce Wayne. Not a good Batman.
okay.
Just like Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Good Bruce Wayne. Not a good Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Bale. Great Batman. Horrible Bruce Wayne.
Just can't seem to get the two together. So there's a little dimple in the top of the hood that sort of runs along there. And to create that, all I'm doing is just putting a float of our shading color down the middle on either side of that line.
Here's another one.
And then I'm taking that color in and around that wreath.
I can't think of another Batman.
Really?
Val Kilmer, George Clooney. I'm missing one.
Yeah, you are. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. He was just bad.
Really? And he's one of my favorites.
Really?
Yep. I liked Michael Keaton.
Again, good Bruce Wayne. On Batman. Yeah. What about Michael Keaton?
I liked him. But I like Michael Keaton, so. So I've got nice little shading in and around all of these little areas, but I got to put a shading on that box.
No grill?
Nope.
No grill.
It's an international, it's hidden. It's just implied back there.
Ben Affleck? No.
No. They both
Shoulda
said with
never have
conviction.
happened. Should have never have happened. Christian Bale, not a good Bruce Wayne, but a great Batman.
Yeah. So everything that we did for that wreath, we're going to do the same thing for that Christmas tree. So I'm going to load up, double load my brush. I've got matcha green on the tip and I've got antique green on the heel. And we're going to start at the base of the tree down here. And it's just going to be a tap and pull. Now you're going to sort of wiggle in and around that.
That's like Bond actors?
Yeah, agreed. Anytime you have a classic character, you're walking a razor's edge.
Yeah. It's like Superman. Henry Cavill did awesome.
Henry Cavill was an awesome Superman.
Renee, you're an old soul in a young body.
Yes, he is.
I don't know about young body.
It is a young body compared to the rest of us.
People say treat your body like a temple. I treated mine like an amusement park. I wanted to ride everything. And I'm broken.
So much for the PG rating.
If you take it that way, yeah. It's wrong. Don't you dare, cat.
So I'm just, on each of those layers, I'm just tapping and pulling, just like we did with the wreath. Brush on the chisel edge, just like so.
Christopher Reeves was a great Superman.
Bad movie.
He wasn't the greatest of actors.
Oh, he was pretty good. Just
Not in Superman.
Superman was not a good movie. Period. You could have put anybody in that role and it
You
wouldn't.
want to see a bad movie? Watch Captain America 1972.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I'm just, look at this. It's just a tap and pull. And I'm following the shape of that tree just to fill in that space. And then I come to the next layer and I do the same thing again. Like so. And you're going to come back in and do a little bit of shading anyway. That's okay. And we're going to do a little highlighting. And look how easy that tree is.
Gene Hackman out Sean Reeves in Superman.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Gene Hackman is an experienced actor at the time.
He was a brilliant actor. I love Gene Hackman.
Sean Connery was the best 007. I'm on the fence with either Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, or Daniel Craig.
I love Daniel Craig as Bond. Sorry to see him go.
Oh, don't spoil it for people.
Kidding me? If they're Bond fans, they've already seen it.
Yeah, sure. Superman the film was the first film I ever saw in cinema. If I don't count Popeye with Robin Williams. Oh, classic.
Oh, that's a classic, yep.
Christopher Reeves will remain the best Superman for me.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to use a little bit of plantation pine. And you can do the same thing in the wreath.
Renee, you sound like Peanut from Jeff Dunham. I don't know how to take that.
Oh my God. That is
Roger Moore? Roger Moore was a good Bond, not a good 00. If you know what I mean. He was a good. He was a people person.
Yeah.
He was not so much a womanizer, but he knew how to talk.
So I'm just going in and underneath these layers with a little float of plantation pine. I just couldn't find my plantation pine, so I grabbed some sap green. But all you need is a slightly darker value green and just a quick little float up underneath those layers. And look at how it separates them nicely. Makes this look like a tree. And then you can take that same green and come in here, shade those layers a little bit so that you get nice definition. Look at that. So now we've got that. If you want to, if you find that your wreath is looking a little wanting, you can pop a little bit of that plantation pine in and around the bow. And you can tuck a little bit in here and there, just little short floats, kind of like floating underneath the fish scales or what have you, just to give it a little extra depth. Little depth in there.
What's this? I love Tom Hanks. He can do anything from an astronaut to Forrest Gump.
I love Tom Hanks.
Don't you dare, cat. Yeah.
So we're going to put a little highlight. I like to have a little frost on this tree. So I take a little bit of warm white and I put it on in the same way that we did all of the others. I'm just going to be a little more...
I don't know why that seems out of focus.
I don't know. So I'm just using a small amount.
Nope.
And mostly on one side. I just want a little bit here and there.
Really?
Just like a little bit of frost on this tree. There.
Hanks is awesome. He, what was that movie with the piano on the floor? Where he's playing like a...
Big.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite movies.
That's when he was in F&O Schwartz.
Yeah.
Right off Central Park, New York. So this wreath, I want to pop this a little bit. So I'm going to use a little bit of that red and just put in a few little dots.
Big. It was a good movie.
Just to make our wreath pop. There we go. So that's it. Gonna let that dry and then we're gonna come back to that in a bit.
The movie Criminal.
Oh, with Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. I never liked Kevin Costner until that movie.
Yeah.
Because that showed me he could actually act with that. But he's been in such good movies in the past.
Yeah.
But that was the one that did it for me. Was
That convinced you he could act?
yeah. Took a while. I've seen tons of Kevin Costner movies that like, yay! Great movie, great cast.
Yep.
Kevin Costner sucked.
In my original piece, in the line drawing, I have the steering wheel. But in my original piece, I didn't put it in. Mainly because the steering wheel was kind of an afterthought. However, I did put it into this one. So I'm going to do something with those windows right now.
Kevin Costner got better with age. Yes, absolutely he did.
Yeah, I love him in Yellowstone.
He's great in Yellowstone.
So I'm picking up, how's that for lazy? I didn't want to reach around to the back to get my Bahama Blue, so I just grabbed the cobalt teal hue. And I got way too much water in my brush.
Can you do a shot of soot? Not right now.
Can you hear her? She is loud. What are you doing? You snuggling?
Sitting in my lap.
Yep.
I don't dare stand up because it might hurt my back because I got a cat in my lap.
So I'm just putting a little float of that cobalt teal hue just inside the edges of those headlights.
Kevin Costner and Robin Hood.
Oh, so bad.
Ugh.
Couldn't decide if he wanted to have an American accent or a British one. And he couldn't do either one very well.
Yeah.
But I love the movie. Figure
The
that
movie
one
was
out.
great. Morgan Freeman was awesome.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman is awesome in everything.
But Kevin Costner as Robin Hood? No, never again. It was bad enough they put a New Zealander in there. Russell Crowe as Robin Hood.
Oh, I loved Russell Crowe in that.
It's just like,
You could put Russell Crowe in a...
no, PG.
Okay,
PG, mother.
darn it. No, you could put Russell Crowe in a commercial and I'd watch it. And I hate commercials. So, oh, what happened there?
No, what'd you do?
I just suddenly got pink in my...
How'd you do that?
I don't know. Oh, I see what I did.
What color was used for the steering wheel?
Steering wheel is just the same color that I used for the boards on the box of the truck, which is, I believe, raw sienna. Took me a minute.
Gladiator's still the best movie.
Oh, love Gladiator. Love Miss Robin Hood.
The
One of my favorites of his.
one with Brad Pitt.
No, oh, it's an older one.
That one's good.
And
He plays the retiring CIA handler.
Yeah. No, my favorite, he actually went to sell a property that he inherited and ended up staying. He was a vineyard in France.
Oh.
And it was just, I can't remember the name of that movie, but it was so good. Just, I will never forget him falling into that filthy pool. And then, of course, getting out of it. So we've got our tree done. We've got our wreath done. I'm going to grab a little bit of that red. We're going to paint in our bow.
There is an actor, I can never remember his name, that he is underutilized,
Mm-hmm.
and he was already a A-list actor,
Mm-hmm.
but he went back to AMC
Okay.
For Walking Dead
Mm-hmm.
because he grew up with the comic book Walking Dead,
Okay.
and he wanted to play he begged and pleaded to play that character.
Okay.
It's the guy who played Negan.
Negan.
The guy with the baseball bat, Lucille. Yeah, again, you'd have to watch
You'd
the
have to
series,
have watched it. I've never watched it.
But
I've seen one episode.
I'd show you a picture of him, you'd know exactly who I'm talking about.
Is this the guy with the stringy hair?
No.
So I just base coated the bow with red. Oh, yes! I like him. He was in the...
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
yeah.
You
I always
never
get him mixed up with Harvey or Bardem all the time.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. He was in the... I forget the name of that movie now.
I once dreamt that I had the body of Russell Crowe in Gladiator. Now I do. Well, rather, here's my body. Yeah, Russell Crowe kind of grew up.
Yum. Okay, so we're going to start highlighting and popping out this truck. You know
You should never try to sing again.
who?
Russell Crowe.
Actually, he's not bad. Depends on what he's singing.
Oh, what movie was that? What movie was that? It won Oscars.
Yeah.
Les
So I'm highlighting
Miserables.
Les Miserables, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm highlighting this truck with some neons. I will admit I'm obsessed with neons. if there's a 12-step program, I may need it. Because I really love that, the highlight that it gives. I like the glow. I like that, and it's sort of burnished look. And it works really, really well for this.
Say what? Sue Black. Jeffrey D. Morgan owns a candy store with Paul Rudd near us. Paul Rudd is there often.
I like Paul Rudd.
I didn't like Paul
I'm
Rudd
not-
until they put him as Ant-Man.
There's something about him. He's just likable. His characters are just likable. Even though they're not, some of their morality is a little questionable, but I don't know. There's just something really likable about him.
Truck is even better with neons.
I really love that glow that it just, I don't know. These neons are lately like my favorite thing. I just like them on everything. Especially this red. I love that it has this great little punch of color. And quite honestly, there's highlights all over the place on this piece. It's not a super realistic piece, so I'm not really worried about getting, the highlights in exactly the right spot. So we're going to go with the highlight, the light source being from everywhere. I saw one of the most gorgeous paintings the other day. It popped up in my feed, and I believe it was Peggy Harris that popped it up. And she was talking about the light sourcing in it. And it is such a beautiful piece. And it showed the Holy Mother and the shepherds and the kings all surrounding the child in the manger. And the light source was the child. And so it was interesting to see the light glow from it. It was beautiful. And it was just such a nice post. Hadn't seen one like that in quite some time. It was really nice. So I'm just putting a little highlight at the base of the windows right there. Again, I'm not worrying too much about the accuracy of these light sources because honestly, it's not really that important in this piece. I'm putting a little highlight on the edges of that hood. You see that seam in there? I'm just putting a little highlight in there just to define the shape, that's all. And I want to darken the inside of that wreath just a little. I'm going to take a little bit of that. Remember that red that we mixed to shade the truck? I'm going to add a little more black to that. And I just want to use it to define this shape a little more. Just to deepen it.
A lot of them are saying they can't wait to see how you do the lettering.
Oh, the lettering is easy.
Oh. Easy lettering. People like easy lettering.
So for that little bow, I'm just putting a nice little shadow, thinned lamp black on the inside. And then it's just going to have a little shadow around the center. I got a little too dark there, I think, but we'll fix it.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan did a series on Stars called Magic City. It was set in 1959 Miami Beach, and he played a hotel owner who was mixed in with the mob. Sounds good.
It does. I like him.
He's been good in everything he's played.
Yeah.
The Losers?
That's the one I was trying to think of, the Losers, yeah. I'm sorry, couldn't get there from here.
It had Captain America in it.
Yep. Captain America. So that little bow is getting a highlight using those neons as well. And we are going to brighten that a little bit with a little bit of...
Lettering is always easy for Tracy.
Well, I'm going to let you in on a secret. Stop thinking about it as lettering. Think about it just as a shape, like any other. And then it stops being so intimidating.
Yes, I'll let you answer.
So I'm just putting a little highlight on that bow with those neons. I love the neons for this. And then I'm going to use my really fine liner. I had to sit down and clean some brushes. They were disgusting. My liners were tragic. So I'm going to thin out a little bit of warm white, and I'm just going to stroke in a couple of little highlights on my bow here. I do like a little highlight on the edges of my bow. And then we're going to use that same liner to add a little highlight to those berries. And I'm just putting a little dot of white to the upper left side of the berries, just to give it a little punch. And it defines them nicely. It gives them a nice shape. And then we're going to put a couple of other little highlights in. One of them is going to be on the outside of the rim of this headlight. Now, I used a little bit of 24 karat gold for the rims of the headlights. And I think it's just a little bit, but we are going to pull some of that gold into this lettering over here. I know it's not obvious, but we are going to use a little bit of that. So there, I have a nice little highlight on the edge of my headlights. Our bow is done, our tree is done. We're going to work on these mirrors now. So those mirrors are super simple. We're going to use a float of asphaltum to give them a nice aged look. Now I'm thinning this color out quite a bit. I don't want it full strength. And I'm just going to put a float, just like I did on the headlights. I'm going to come in just slightly from the edge. And put a float in. It's just enough to make them not look like the headlights. Like so. And it just darkens that warm white a little bit. And we need to, while we have that asphaltum out, we're going to shade the wood trim on the edge of our truck box, close to the body, darkest value closest to the edge of the truck, or the inside edge.
Oh, would anyone know where to get Dynasty Faux Squirrel riggers? The brush guys are out, and I don't mind ordering from US or Canada.
MaureenBaker.com. She may have some in stock. And you might always also try Sandy McTeer. She may still have some in stock. And if push comes to shove and neither of those has any, then dickblick.com. They all carry faux squirrel.
Where are we here?
So I've got my side view mirrors done. I am going to put a little highlight on the arm for the side view, and that's done with just that liner and a thin stroke of that titanium white. And I'm putting it on the upper left and lower left. So the upper left of the one on the right hand side and the lower left on the one on the left hand side. And then I'm going to add a highlight to the edge of this truck, and I'm going to do that with a little bit of warm white as well, but I'm thinning it out. Don't want it too strong. And it's just a simple little highlight. Kind of just want it to look a little frosted on the edge like so, and the same over here, just a little bit.
The font is yours, correct?
No, actually, this is a graphic. I had to buy the license for that one.
Oh, okay, so it is yours.
Yeah, it is mine to use, yeah.
Yeah.
But what I meant when I said that it was a graphic, meaning that it came as a whole image, I don't have the individual font.
Yeah.
I do have a font that's close, so if they would like me to create something else for them, whether it's Feliz Navidad or Joyeux Noël or whatever it is, I mean, we can create something for them. So I think I'm happy with my truck, but I do need to do one more thing, and that's where my pen comes in.
Pen.
I do love my pen. And I just noticed something else I forgot.
Uh-oh.
Because, that's how the day's going. So, a little bit of asphaltum, the bumper.
It's a good
Almost
thing we're
forgot
having
about the
hot dogs
bumper.
for dinner.
What's that?
It's a good thing we're having hot dogs for dinner. I forgot to add the garlic. I forgot to cook the food.
I've never gotten that bad.
Yeah, the one time you forgot you were making tea ended up catastrophic.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I'm just putting a float of asphaltum along the bottom of that bumper.
Oh, that's a good one.
What's that?
Tracy, do you do any instructional videos on brushstroke techniques?
I don't, but I certainly could. Brush control is something that is learned, and it takes a lot of practice. But when it comes to stroke work, if you're really looking for good instruction on stroke work, there's two people that I can highly recommend. Well, three that I highly recommend. Sandy McTeer is awesome when it comes to doing stroke work. She has magnificent brush control. Jill Fitzhenry, Jilly Bean, is amazing. And she has lots of stroke work and technique boards and tutorials that you can look at. And then the third one, and I just drew a blank. It was Sandy. It was Jilly Bean. Oh, and Linda Sharp. Almost forgot. So
somebody just said
Linda Sharp. My brain just drew a complete blank for about 2 seconds, but Linda Sharp. Those are the three women. Linda has perhaps the most technically beautiful stroke work. Her work is gorgeous. Sandy has the most amazing brush control. Absolutely phenomenal. And Jilly Bean the same. Jilly Bean she can make a brush do almost anything. So any one of those three, you cannot possibly go wrong.
They're asking about the tires on the truck now.
Yep. That's next. We're going there. So I need to put a highlight on my bumper. So I'm going to thin out a little bit of warm white. Now that we've got that shadow in there, I wanted it to look a little rusty and irregular. I did not want this to be the perfect truck. I wanted him to have I've kind of been there, done that, got all the t-shirts kind of look.
But I still run. Yep. So I'm just putting a little highlight at the top of the bumper with a little bit of thinned warm white. And then we're going to come down here to our tires. And again, thinned warm white. And we're going to put a highlight on the outer edge of our tire, like so. Pasta fagioli. For dinner.
And the truck is running in some snow. So I'm going to take that same float of white, strengthen it a little bit, and I'm going to run a little snow along the bottom. I'm just using a really loose float of color like that across the bottom. Neatness doesn't count. Just like so.
Would be nice to make some for left-handed people.
You know, you got to find a left-handed painter. Teaching people from they're left-handed when you're right-handed is difficult
Yeah.
because we're not seeing things in the same fashion, or the mechanics are different too. So finding a left-handed painter.
I can airbrush upside down with my left hand, but I can't do it with my right.
I call this my right hand, and I call this one my stupid hand.
Stupid hand.
Because this one can do nothing. So I want to brighten that highlight a little bit. Da, da, da. Now, if you really wanted to, you could have a little bit of fun putting in some.
Oh, that's an awesome way of learning.
What's that?
My mom was left-handed and learned to crochet by watching instructions in a
A
mirror.
mirror. Yeah.
Cool. You can do the same.
Yeah. So, I got my tires done. I threw in a little vertical line just by tapping that brush. I threw in a little vertical line so it kind of looks like a tread. I'm going to thin out a little bit of lamp black, and I'm going to put a shadow in here. Because, just because. I'm going to dry this. And this is the fun part. This pen comes in handy for so many things. And I really like the more rustic and off-kilter look of this little truck. So I want a little reflection. So I'm just going to use some simple lines on the windshield. And I'm going to do the same thing to the headlights.
So you're ready to have your ego stroked a little?
Okay. I could use it.
So they're calling you a big brush.
Oh, God.
So Andrea says, does anyone else get kind of starstruck when they meet big brushes? We used to call them Deb. Deb, Sandy, and Tracy are big brushes.
It's funny because I don't really consider myself a big brush. I don't. I will tell you a little story though. I think everybody gets a little starstruck when you meet somebody that you really admire. And I honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I got to tell you, I was working as a marketing director for a company that manufactured finishing products. And I was at a trade show. And I had been painting. Decorative painting was relatively new to me at the time. I'd probably only been painting about 10 years, maybe, at that time. Well, decorative painting. I'd been painting for a long time, but only total and decorative painting for about 10 at that point. And like everybody else, I had my favorites. I had, dozens of books at the time, and you have your favorites. And every magazine I opened, I would see this woman's picture in there, and you'd see an ad for brushes, and her face would be there. You would see articles in magazines, and she was in them all. She had books and books and books and patterns, and she was a big deal in the industry. And I was a huge fan. I loved her work. I just thought everything she did was, the best thing since cookies. And I was working this trade show, and I was busy setting up our booth, and this woman walks up to me, and the minute she opened her mouth, she said, and I said, I know who you are. And it was Heather Raddick. And I've gotten to know Heather a great deal over the years, and she's still an artist that I greatly admire.
Apparently you're not a big brush, you're a giant brush.
Oh, God. But Heather has, over the years, we've become friends, and we've worked together, and we've taught classes together, and I'm still a big fan. And then just to make my entire day complete, I met Peggy Harris for the first time, and that just blew me out of the water. So I got to see my two favorite artists at the time on the same day. So yes, I'm well aware of what it's like to kind of meet your heroes, and I got to meet both of mine on the same day. So I was a little blown out of the water.
So, you, Sandy, and Deb are the three brushketeers.
We're the three brushketeers.
Three brushketeers.
We're WTF. We three friends. So I'm just taking my little gel pen here. I like putting a little scribbly line around things because I don't really want this white bumper to look perfect. So I'm just sort of sketching in some flaws here and there. And I do the same thing to the wreath. I just sort of, scribble in a few little details, crisp up edges and lines like that. It's one thing I love about this gel pen is I can write right over top of my acrylics without any issues. So any place that you want to, add a little detail, I like this. Just makes things look a little more rustic.
Sheila says, you, Peggy, Deb, and Sandy, I'm in awe that I'm able to call you friends.
Aw, that's my girl Sheila. Watch the mail, Sheila. You've got something coming to you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Does Heather still teach?
She does. And she teaches the most amazing seascapes. Incredible seascapes. She blows me away. So there is our little red truck. You can come back in and brighten up highlights if as you see fit. I may come back in with a dry brush and just punch up a couple. Just because I can. I don't right now. I'm not sure where I'll put them, but I'm thinking there might be a few. Might make it look a little more frosty. But we have some leaves and berries to do. We're going to do this holly next. And I've got my berries base coated.
They can't see it.
I know.
There you go.
I'm trying to get it above the text.
Yeah. Text.
Yeah, there's closed caption.
Oh.
Yeah. So, okay, I've got my berries are base coated with white. And the reason I do that is to keep them nice, bright red. I want these berries to pop. So I'm going to base coat them. I'm just using a rigger. You can use a small round. And what I love is that if you take your time and you put a nice even coat in, you're going to get nice bright red berries, but you only need one coat. I hate having to recoat things, just like I hate retracing things, which is why I tend to paint things the way I do, because I don't like retracing everything. They never come out nice the second time around, so.
It's 7:35 p.m. here.
Which must be in the UK. France.
Okay, ladies and Renee, I have to go cook dinner. Have fun, take care, Merry Christmas to all of you. Merry Christmas, Patrick.
Oh, that was Patrick Penafus. Patrick Penafus. So I'm going to put in a quick coat.
You made me remember my fangirl moment.
Oh, what was
I actually texted you.
Oh, yes. I remember.
My big fangirl moment. And I couldn't
do anything.
Because I was working.
Renee, I remember this day vividly. Renee actually got hired to do some dog training for a movie.
Yeah, for Netflix.
For a Netflix film. And had to go to a safety briefing or something. Something coordination. But anyway, I knew he was starting that day. And then I got this just crazy panicked series of text messages from him because when he walked into the room, he had his fanboy moment.
Yeah, well, fanboy moment. 4 of the biggest names in Hollywood.
Yep.
We're all sitting in that room.
Yep. So I said, can you get a picture? He's like, no. You can't really take pictures in this meeting.
No,
I thought it was pretty funny. Are you going to tell them who it was?
it was Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Martin Scorsese, and Robert De Niro. All sitting in the same room.
Yeah. So, major league fanboy moment.
And then me trying to tell them what areas to stay out of while I'm doing stuff, and who can touch the dogs and who can't touch the dogs, which I found out Al Pacino is a big dog lover.
Yep. So, I've got one coat of red on these berries. And I've got, I put a second coat of that antique green on there. It wasn't quite covering as well as I wanted it to. So we're going to start with shading these berries. And again, I'm using the base color, which is that red. And I'm mixing it with just a touch of the lamp black, just enough to make it sort of a dark purple. If you're not comfortable shading this way, if you're worried about getting that dark purple just right, don't do that. Just grab a bottle of Diox Purple and float a little bit of that. So I'm shading the berry, but I'm coming in just slightly from the edge. I don't want to take it completely to the edge. So I've got a very thin sliver of red in there, and that, there we go.
Oh, that movie ended up winning Oscars, by the way.
Yeah.
That was The Irishman.
Yeah.
I only worked 4 days on that movie, and then they were gone.
Yeah. So you come in just slightly from the edge. Let me see if I can.
I'm surprised Renee could text legibly. Barely.
Barely. I had a fangirl moment with Robert De Niro as well.
Yeah, but you didn't realize that was Robert De Niro until after.
I realized it, but it took about 5 beats before I realized, like, oh my God, it was him. Well, and it's understandable because the show that was playing at that casino at the time, the fellow that they hired to promote it was walking around the casino all the time, was a lookalike to Robert De Niro, and he was a pretty good one. So I've got a sketch here of some holly berries. These are so small, I don't think you can see it. So I'm going to show you on this piece of paper. So we have a berry, and you can see in here this line drawing. You see all of these little dip dots? Looks like a little shadow. This helps imply that it's spherical. So when you're doing a shading on a berry, if you bring your float, that shadow, just in from the edge slightly.
No, my name wasn't actually in the credits because I was in essential production. Basically, you'd have to be paid above a certain amount in order to get in the credits.
Yeah. So that shading, if you leave that little thin line on a round piece, it helps imply that it's spherical. Because the light actually shows ruin. But with berries in particular, it gives you that sort of almost translucence in the skin of the berry.
Can you move it to your right? There you go.
So try to come in just slightly from the edge. That's not like a full millimeter or anything, but just slightly from the edge when you put that shadow in, and you're going to get that almost translucent appearance. I'm going to turn it this way so that when you put your highlight in,
Further. There you go.
you're going to start the highlight where the shadow stopped, and you're going to do the same thing with the highlight. So you come in just from the edge. And this helps you get a little bit more realism. so that you end up with that spherical or orb-like look as opposed to just a circle with a dark side and a light side. It'll help you get a little bit more realism if you try that. So we're going to come down here and a little bit of that warm white. Don't need a lot, and it needs to be quite thin because we don't want to bury it. And I'm going to put that highlight. Remember what I said, the two highlight and the shadow need to meet. So where the one stops, that's where the next one starts.
Yeah, and all four of those big names, I'm pretty sure, had mob ties throughout their career. I'm pretty sure Joe Pesci still does. I'm pretty sure he was a hitman or something. He is a scary individual. And time has not been kind to him.
I don't think time is never kind to any of us. So once you have your shading and your highlight on your berry, you're going to want to put a light impact point. And again, I come in just slightly in from the edge of that highlight. And you just tap in that dot. And then you get nice juicy looking berries.
Robert De Niro in The Intern with Anne Hathaway is such a teddy bear.
Oh, yes.
He is such a teddy bear in the movie.
Yeah.
Can't say I've seen that one.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes back to school.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
The one... Analyze that. Or
Analyze this. The one with
Robert
Billy
De Niro.
Crystal?
With Billy Crystal.
Oh my god, he's so funny in that.
By far the best comedy Robert De Niro has ever done.
Yeah.
I didn't like Meet the Fockers, but
Yeah, I bet I don't really care for what's
I
his
didn't
name.
think he'd be good at comedy, but
Yeah.
he is really good at comedy.
So we're going to shade and then highlight our holly leaves. I'm using sap green because I was too lazy to get up and go get the plantation pine. It was handy.
Hello from Amarillo, Texas. There's a song about Amarillo.
Amarillo by morning. So I'm just going to put a float of plantation pine. I need to, oh goodness, a little too strong, but
Isn't there an alcohol called Amarillo?
that's amaretto.
Oh.
Quiet. Really?
Sorry.
I really goofed that float. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to have to take it off. I really pooched that. Eesh. There we go.
Control Z.
Control Z.
It usually works.
Let's try that again.
Control Z usually. Undo.
Yeah, no. So, okay, let's try that again. Oh, much better. Thank you. And then I'm going to put a float down the center vein to the point. And I'm going to dry this because I want to accentuate that curve in the leaf.
They're laughing at me for thinking it was Amarillo and not Amaretto.
That's okay, I'm joining them.
Thanks. You're such a supportive mother.
I try to be. So to get that really accentuate that curve in a leaf, I put a shadow down here.
Do you wish we could Control Z our painting?
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So if you'll notice, I put a float at the bottom of my leaf, right on the edge of the leaf, in behind. And then I come up the other side. And what that does is it makes this the furthest away from the light. And so as the leaf bends, the highlight is going to be out here. And so it enhances that curve and gives those leaves a nice deep curve, like so.
What was that? Floating is always a challenge.
Well, I have a couple of tricks that I use for floating. I've seen people use wet paper towels. I've seen people use blotting paper or paper towel to blot on. I will usually tell, especially a newbie that's learning how to float, to use a sponge, a wet sponge. So then you just pick up the brush soaked in water and you just touch it to the sponge, the wet sponge. It'll only pull off as much as the sponge will allow, so it doesn't pull too much out of it. And it helps you get the balance right. So the highlight color for our leaves, I'm using matcha green. Now this green has a lot of white in it, so I blend this out. I don't want this color full strength. And I'm pulling that up. And this is my highlight color. So I float down the center vein.
Oh, okay. So this is from Pam Stover.
Mm-hmm.
Can you use a brush-on sealer with the gel pen, or will it smear?
It will smear. Now, it also depends on how long you've left it to dry. But to avoid that problem altogether, just hit it with a couple of light coats of matte spray. I usually hit everything I paint with some matte spray because I use such a variety of things in some of the artwork. Sometimes there's ink, sometimes there's stamping, sometimes there's paint. So you never quite know how certain brands are going to react. So I always recommend just take it out to the garage and hit it with a coat of matte spray. And that will prevent any issues at all. So the highlight, I got the highlight on here. I'm going to come around here. So highlight down the center vein opposite the shadow. And then remember the points. You got to get it on that point. Don't worry about the shadow. If you get that little, that halo, it looks a little ragged, don't worry about it. We're going to fix it.
Do you mean Krylon 1311?
Yep, Krylon 1311 or Decoart's matte spray. Either one will work. And just a light coat, make sure that you're at least 10 to 12 inches away from your surface. Shake it really well.
I started using the sponge tip and my floating has improved 100%.
It helps you get that balance of moisture in the brush. And once you get used to that balance, you know how much moisture you should have in your brush. It becomes intuitive after a
And
while.
then leave it in the garage until it stops stinking.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly. That's why it goes out to the garage, because stuff stinks. So I've got my highlights in place. Now, they look a little rough. The highlights don't look rough, but that shadow does, because now we've got a little bit of,
You can stay away from the car.
the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Be shot at sunrise.
Yeah, you did.
So I just go back in with a float of that plantation pine. It helps you clean up a little bit, sharpens those highlights, gives you nice depth, cleans up any little whoopsies that you may have had. And so we've got our shading and our highlighting in. I like taking where's my little liner brush?
Just a damp sponge.
Yeah, just a damp kitchen sponge, cellulose type. There's my liner brush. So I'm going to take my liner. I'm using a 15-aught. And I'm going to thin out a little bit of my matcha green. I like finishing the edges of my leaves, whatnot, with this. I just like it. It's a nice detail. So I'm just,
Bring it up.
oh my goodness.
I'm going to try and...
You're going to try and zoom?
Oh no, I'm already zoomed in.
So all I'm doing is just putting a little soft, fine line on the edges of my leaves, like so.
That should help a little bit.
I don't know, my paint's drying really quick today. I don't know why.
Well, you're not using a gray matter.
No, the paint's drying. The gray matter doesn't change that. But I like this little detail. It's just using a little at the edge. It just gives them a nice shape
There, I can get closer.
and lets them stand out nicely. And I use that same color for all of those little vines and tendrils. So if you have those little leaves that need vines, then that's what the color that you're going to use. And this is something that drives me nuts, always has. It used to bug me that a lot of designs and patterns would have these tiny little lines and whatnot, and people would try to follow the pattern line exactly. And you would find yourself struggling to keep them on the pattern line and then realize that they're crooked and they're not clean and they're not smooth. Don't try to follow it. Just use it as a guide. If you get it, you get it. And if you don't, oh well, it's graphite. It erases. Don't worry about it. And who's going to know that that line wasn't exactly where it should have been? And if you just follow them, just stroke that in, they're going to look nice and smooth. It doesn't matter if they're exactly where they're supposed to be or where the original designer put them.
Do you thin your paint with water or glaze medium?
Either or.
Whatever she feels like at the day.
Well, it depends. Right now that paint is drying really fast, which is bugging me. So
Now she's gonna use glaze.
I'm gonna grab a little bit of glaze because my paint is just like glue on this liner.
Oh, there is a fire upstairs.
I know. Well, hopefully it's under control.
Yes, it's
Thank you.
in the wood stove. So it could just be really dry air.
Yeah, it could be, but yeah, the paint's really dry. Like I go to line it on, and it's like, nope, not happening.
The F word, freehanding.
Freehanding, yeah. It's either that or floating.
I've had a few tattoos done that way.
Mm-hmm. So you will find that if you just cease to worry about whether or not those lines are perfect, that your line work is going to look so much better.
Holly and a bit of check background would make it a pretty bookmark.
It would. Well, my members downloaded I've got a cute little printable for my members, and this was one of the tags that's in the printable. And you could do whatever you wanted with this. It's just a simple 2 little holly leaves, a group of berries, and a plain background. You could stencil it whatever way you wanted to. So if you're part of the membership group, if you go to your paid download section, paid membership download section on my website, you can download that printable. I think there's 6 tags.
So Robin Storm already knows what she's getting for Christmas.
Does she?
Yeah, my son bought me some black gold brushes and micron liners.
Nice.
From Sandy McTeer
Nice.
for Christmas. I can't get them until Christmas morning. It's killing me. Yeah.
So we've done berries. Remember these little leaves out here? Again, you want to get that that nice.
Wasn't it Robin Storm that had her stuff? Is it the same son that donated all your painting stuff? Or am I thinking of a different person?
I think you might be the one that accidentally donated a bunch.
Yeah, accidentally donated a bunch of brushes, brush roll, and yeah, that's why I don't
tragic.
touch that stuff.
Yeah. He wants to live a long time.
Painting supplies are always welcome.
Always. Always. I don't care who you are.
I keep a small humidifier diffuser when I'm painting.
Yeah, we have we don't usually have that problem in this house, but today it's, I don't know why, it must be really cold out.
Susan Haley. Tracy and Santa Renee. Yeah, okay. I love the brushes I won.
Oh, excellent.
Right on.
Speaking of brushes, you gonna draw a couple of names? That'd be a good idea.
Nah.
Nah. Wowzers, Batman. So we've got some leaves. Again, I do the same thing with these little leaves that you see up here. I put that shading at the base of the leaf, and then my highlight goes at the top of the leaf. I've always liked how that kind of gives those leaves a little more definition.
Okay, it is a different person.
Okay.
Okay. I'm hoping for Tracy gift certificate prices.
So, our next big thing is this lettering. And this always freaks people out. I don't know why. Lettering is fun.
What's up, Sheila? Renee! Exclamation marks. What did I do? What did I do or what didn't I do?
He hasn't drawn a name, or two, or five.
Found that if I keep the can of spray in the garage, it either won't spray or it sputters.
Oh, you know
But
what?
if you keep it at normal cool room temperature, it sprays just fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We have a heated garage, so
Stays at 15 degrees.
it stays at 15 degrees Celsius.
Let's get the wheel of names.
Oh, good idea.
And it's still loaded with 194 names. How many people are in here? 187. Okay, so I'm missing some people.
Yeah, start hitting that like button. So we're going to work on this lettering. Now, the colors that I use for this are warm white.
He has many mothers keeping him straight.
He does indeed. So I'm using a little bit of that cobalt teal hue and a little bit of warm white. The warm white, I'm going to thin this with a little bit of glaze because I can. And it is going to help move this paint a little bit because it really is not moving today. So lettering is one of those things that it always scares people. And I think one of the reasons is that they assume that it's like their handwriting, that it has to be perfect. Well, it really doesn't. And it helps immensely if you stop thinking about it as lettering and think about it more as a space, much like everything else that you have to paint. So if you think about it as the space like the truck, that's going to help you when it comes to painting it.
Don't move it too much because it's in a great spot.
Okay. And it's in a comfortable spot for me, so it's all good as it works for you.
Hubby got me a red truck themed mug.
Oh, nice.
Now I need to paint this. Humidity is terrible in Memphis, Tennessee.
It's because you're in Memphis, Tennessee, which, by the way, is a gorgeous city. I've only been once, and it was a number of years ago. Drove down from Nashville, just 'cause.
Linda Johnson.
Linda Johnson. I'm not sure which one you're getting because they're all packaged up now, but you'll be getting a set of either black gold or faux squirrel.
Either or.
Either or. So make sure that you pop onto the website, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the homepage, and send us a quick message with your shipping information so that we can get that out to you on Monday.
We're gonna have another nothing but Linda's winning day, or
I don't know.
Linda Johnson.
Linda Johnson.
What brush are you using?
This one is number 2 rigger. And I have it well and truly loaded with warm white. And the trick here is to press down till the brush opens up and fills the space. And then as you release, you can bring it back up onto the chisel edge for all of those little sharp lines.
You're really wondering what the surface is.
The surface for this,
Yeah.
it is that rounded arched plaque, and it is on my website. I like this plaque. I have both this one and the one that we used for the hot chocolate. Both of them are up there.
I'll spin it again.
Yeah, well, we have 6 of them to give away, so it'd be a good idea to start spinning.
There you got another hour.
Ish.
Kinda, sorta, maybe.
Well, I don't like rushing. And they've been patiently waiting while we discussed Superman and God knows what else today.
Superman, Batman.
And for dinner tonight, we are having,
Hold on.
I don't know that I'd call it a hot dog.
Frank.
It's not a Frank either.
A worst.
Yeah, it's like a beef sausage type thing. We're having those in some really good buns.
Yvonne Diane?
Yvonne Diane.
Or Diane Vaughn?
Yvonne.
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 Yvonne! That's the name.
Yep. So Yvonne Diane, if you go to my website, tracymonroe.net, click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the homepage and send us your shipping information. Obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously.
It's never obvious.
I'm thinking that Yvonne Diane may not be her complete name. It could just be a screen name. So make sure that you have your full name on that so that we can get it out to you. We've been trying to pack orders and ship them as soon as we get them to try and stay ahead of the shipping issues with the mail and all of that. So people are starting to get them, but we ship quickly, and even then it's taking 3 to 5 weeks for stuff to get where it's going, so.
Well, it took something to come from Texas. It took 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we shipped,
Wait, did Jessica get her goodie bag?
I don't know. Linda got hers, and Linda's is in Louisiana.
And we shipped them on the same day.
They all shipped on the same day, so, but people have been posting that they're just starting to arrive, but Linda got hers first, which amazed me. I thought hers was going to be the longest, but hers was one of the first to arrive.
Come on, Jessica! Waiting for Jessica!
So I don't know if Jessica's has arrived yet or not.
Spinning again!
And prep sheet for my group for your live class on the 26th that's going out on Monday. I know you've all got the pattern, but I do have some recommended prep for you, so just to make your life a little easier and hopefully answer some questions before you have to ask them. But of course, anytime you have a question, just use that little speech bubble on the website. That is the best way to get in touch with me. Everything comes directly to me from there. I don't advise sending me messages on Messenger because I'm really not on there that often. And I don't have notifications for Messenger because it just becomes too much. I get advertisements and posts, all sorts of stuff comes through Messenger. So if you need to ask me a question or track down an order or whatever, use the website to do that. It's the fastest and the most efficient way because that gets monitored all the time. So
the class is set for Sunday 26th?
I believe, yes. I don't know. I'd have to.
Boxing Day?
Maybe. I can't see the calendar from here, so I'm not sure.
I don't know. But Gail Cummins.
Gail Cummins. You've won a set of either faux squirrel or black gold. I'm not sure which. Whatever's in the envelope. I have to look at the.
You have nothing on there.
Oh, that's because I tore the old one off. So I'll It's on the website. I'll look. It's on my website calendar.
We normally do it on a Tuesday, right?
Yes.
28th. You've got.
It could be the 28th. For some unknown reason, I can't remember.
We'll keep you posted.
We'll keep you posted. It is on the website, though. If you're looking for the class information, it's up there.
Yes, she did. I opened it last night. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. The bag is amazing. And of course, all the goodies.
Oh, it's Jessica? Good.
Yeah.
She got it last night. Excellent. It's funny that Linda got hers first last week.
And you just got it last night.
and she's in Louisiana. Jessica's in Maine, like 5 hours from us.
It should have been there first.
You would think, but, you know.
The one in Louisiana gets it.
Yeah, that just kind of baffles me, but, you know, the one that's the furthest away got hers first. I could have walked it to her faster.
I
So-
hear your dog moving.
Yeah. So almost finished with the base of this lettering. I'm going to,
We should have a New Year's Eve party. Hint,
well,
hint.
I'm thinking,
Well, New Year's is on a Saturday, and we're missing the 25th, so we were actually talking about that before we went live.
yeah, trying to figure out what we're going to do. So you might notice that this lettering is not perfect. It's not fully opaque. It's not, I don't worry about any of that. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. In fact, in this particular case, it's more interesting if it's not. So I'm going to take my 15-aught liner, a little bit of glaze, and this is where I'm going to connect everything. All those little fine lines in this piece are going to be done with my liner. Because why not? And it's, to be quite honest, it's just simpler.
Make lettering look so easy and neat. Website says 27th.
27th.
So Monday? Really?
No.
Yeah, that would be a Monday.
Okay, it should say the 28th,
Oh, yeah.
the Tuesday.
Might have to change it.
Yeah. But we'll see.
Most likely I'd have to change it.
Yep. So then I just go around with some thinned warm white, and that's when I put in all those little connecting lines. Oh my gosh. My tang got tangled. And he's sitting there looking at me like I lost my mind.
Oh, you lost it a long time ago.
I know, right around like 1986.
That's oddly specific.
Nothing odd about it.
It was the year I was born.
I know.
I'm not seeing the correlation. I thought you were always like this.
No,
No.
it sort of happened all at once.
Roughly October time frame?
Yep.
Okay.
Just one day, all went to hell in a handbag. You know,
Specific
all
day.
my jackets started
Was it a
buckling.
Monday?
All of my jackets started buckling in the back.
Nothing worse than starting parenthood on a Monday.
Actually, it was a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday? Oh, great. Middle of the week, right on.
Yeah.
We understand, Tracy.
See? So we're going to add a little bit of interest to this lettering. We're going to do that with, I usually use Bahama blue. It's a nice opaque blue. I'm going to use a little bit of this cobalt teal hue. And we're going to float the bottom of the lettering. And I just like how the, oof, that's too strong. I am going to grab my Bahama blue. I got it on there, don't like it. It's too strong. So I'm going to switch and put on some Bahama blue. the reason I like Bahama blue is that it's a nice blue, but it's also a little bit opaque. And I think that other color is just a little too strong. So I'm just going to put a little float of Bahama blue, and I'm only going to come up about 1/3 of the letter. And it's just at the bottom. It is not perfect. Comme ça.
Here, I'm gonna move this.
You okay?
Oops. Hold on. That one. No, not that one.
And this lettering will clean up a little bit when I erase all the graphite lines. Get rid of all those white graphite lines that are in there. I love this little bit of blue at the bottom of the lettering. It just keeps it nice and cool looking. And it gives it a little bit of interest. It's not just flat, plain lettering.
Tuesday's child is full of grace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wednesday's child is fair of face.
Why couldn't you wait till Wednesday? Look what you did.
So-
yeah, I'm graceful like a sledgehammer.
And about as subtle as a flying mallet.
Same as Sheila, took my car to MOT garage. Left, I've done 200 miles in 12 months. Wow. Me too.
Well, quite honestly, where's anybody going these days?
Yeah.
Mhm. So I've got that little bit of Bahama blue at the bottom of my lettering. It just gives it a little bit of interest. And it keeps it from looking just flat and plain. So then we can do one of two things. I like to add a little bit of bling. Remember the gold that's around the headlights? You can take that 24 karat gold and we're going to put a highlight in, but I decided I was going to cheat a little bit. Cheater. And I like taking my, ooh,
Is it dried up?
no, I just didn't shake it, that's all.
There
We go. So I'm just going to take my little gold pen and I'm just going to put in a little stroke of gold inside of my lettering like so. The fun part about this is that it's easy to do. Works really well. It highlights this lettering nicely, and you don't need to work really hard to get a great result out of this, to be honest. So, and it's super fast. And it just creates a little bit of movement in that lettering. And a little bit of interest.
Guess I'm missing something here. Names monitoring here on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah, that's what I do. Did I miss something, or was there a question that I missed that somebody needed answered?
He usually does a pretty good job.
I tried to.
Yep. So that little gold line, you can do that with a liner brush if you want to. But if you have one, grab one of these. I love these.
Oh.
This is that Deco Color, the liquid gold paint pen. I use this ultra fine one, or this one here is called the extra fine, or I use this one for borders. And we are going to use that on the edge of this. In fact, we're going to do that right now.
What was the... Missed it.
So I like to take the pen and put it right on, put that point right on the edge like so that when I drag it, it puts like a nice little gold border around the edge of my painted piece, like
Name
so.
of the font.
It is not a font, it's a graphic. So I don't have a font for this particular lettering. I have one close, but it is not that particular font.
Why does it remind me of the Cheers logo?
I don't know. So I'm going to dry this really quick, and then we're going to add some snowflakes, because I love my snowflakes. Can you hand me one of our little thank you cards?
Yeah.
And then in the drawer where we keep the thank you cards, there's
None.
down. And there's a little pack of stencils in there. No, the other one. The new ones. Yep. So when we send out, whenever somebody places an order on the website and we have to package everything up in the mail, we always send out a little thank you card, and then there's usually a little stencil attached to it. In this case, we have this pretty little snowflake. This is one of my favorite snowflakes. I just love how this one looks.
Okay, what was the name of the graphic you purchased?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I have to go look it up.
I really want to know.
Yeah. I have to go find it. Anyway, in that little thank you card is this little stencil. Now, we have a new one, so once we run out of those snowflakes, we have a new one, and this time around I went with some fun little stars. So, yeah, they're just like little prim stars. So we're going to have those coming up. I know some of you collect all these, and we've had fleur-de-lis and daisies and all sorts of different shapes and different snowflakes and whatnot. So we have this fun one. I love this particular snowflake, and this is really fun.
You
These
do the stars
little prim stars.
because that thank you card is the last one.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the next set that are going out are all going to be those fun little prim stars.
Yep.
So I try to change them every couple of months just so that we have something different.
And you still have a bunch of the snowflakes too.
I know, but just
We could finish up the snowflakes.
we're going to do the stars.
We're gonna do this stuff.
It's time because I've been doing snowflakes for quite some time. Speaking of snowflakes, where is
Now
my
that we have a
snowflake stencil?
steering wheel, do we have a windshield wiper?
No, we don't have a windshield wiper. We're not getting that.
It's 1930s
Yeah,
era truck. I didn't have a windshield wiper.
no.
It had a cloth.
You had a cloth. I can't find my snowflake stencil. There it is.
You just
Okay.
had it.
This one.
That one.
So we're going to add a few snowflakes, and I think I'm going to use this one because I really
I'm going
like
to
this one.
Zoom out.
So I'm going to grab my painter's tape.
Much bigger now.
Now, although this is a pretty design, especially I will come back in and finish those leaves and whatnot a little later, but it's a pretty design. It's a fairly simple one, but there's still a lot of negative space in here. And God forbid I should have anything boring or empty. So I'm going to, I love this snowflake, so I want to tape this one in place. And I'm going to grab a clean stencil brush and some warm white. Now, I don't want a lot of paint on my brush. I love this stencil. This is just such a pretty snowflake. So again, circular fashion, change directions frequently. And, oh, I love that snowflake. It's just such a pretty one. Now, I'm going to use this snowflake stencil because I really like the combination. There's a lot of different sizes in here and patterns. So I'm going to use this one. You don't need to get these absolutely perfect. In fact, it's more interesting if they're not. I kind of like it when some of them are, more opaque and some are softer.
Well, snowflakes are nearly transparent anyway.
Yep.
We're supposed to be.
You wouldn't know that if you saw how many of them we get in the winter. So there we are.
I love your thoughts when it comes to design. Such a pleasure to watch.
I believe in keeping things as simple as possible. Simple does not have to be boring. Simple doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be complex. Nothing should really be so complex that it's impossible to do. But when it comes to filling up space, part of the trick is getting it as random looking as possible. If it looks too structured or too patterned, then it kind of loses some of that spontaneity, and then it begins to look like every portion of it was planned. So I try to avoid that. Instead of using the whole sheet of the stencil, I will move things around and use bits and pieces so that it doesn't look so heavily structured. I'm going to pop this one in the corner because this is another one of my favorites, this one here. I love that snowflake. And you might notice that in the line drawing, I have a little bit of holly down in this corner, but in the original piece, I don't. I ended up tucking a snowflake in there and then erasing that and just keeping the two pieces in. But again, those are just decisions that I make on the fly. If you like them, put them in. If you don't, leave them out. It's not going to hurt anything. So I want to put one more down in here, I think, just for the sake of continuity. I'm going to use this one, though. I like this one.
Snow, sleet, and freezing rain. Here in Albany, New York.
Albany, New York. I think we're going to be getting some snow this week. Ooh, pretty. Now, this one is M242, I believe, and M254 has some even smaller snowflakes, which are fun. The other thing that I've been using lately, because I'm kind of obsessed with these, are these little chipboard snowflakes. I am seriously obsessed with these little things. I love how these look, having that little extra dimension. So if you have some of these, you can tuck those in too. I'm really kind of obsessed with having that extra bit of dimension on things.
I'm glad you only do 6-sided snowflakes.
I get a little carried away with the snowflake thing. I do love my snowflakes. So I've got a few in here. I think maybe one more, just for good measure. I'm going to tuck this little one in. I try not to overlap them too much, especially over some of the key elements, like the Merry Christmas and the tree.
I just realized what that snowflake looks like
Which one?
when you just added.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a coronavirus. So now that we've got some snowflakes in, there's still a fair amount of negative space, but we don't want to fill it up with this. Then it gets too busy and a little too cluttered. So we're going to fill it up with something a little softer, and that means spattering it.
Corona snowflakes?
Corona's the snowflakes. So I'm digging out my fugly brush, my not so fugly brush, my least fugly brush. That's what I'm.
Where's the one you painted? Or did you throw that out?
No, it's there
around.
somewhere.
It's around?
It's around somewhere.
It's in. That looks like a fugly. Oh,
That's it. It's wearing down though.
Oh my god.
So I'm going to lightly spatter this with just some thinned warm white, just to give you the impression that it's snowing a little bit. And you can do as much of this or as little of this as you like. Now that little bit of spatter takes care of some of that empty space. Remember that spot up here that I was talking about? Having that little bit of spatter up there just subdues that a little bit so it doesn't look quite so barren. And so it as subtle as it is, it does fill up that space. And you don't want to have tons and tons of stuff everywhere. It gets to be a bit much. So we've got a little spatter just to add a little texture. So all in all, we have probably 5 layers in here. We've got that bright red truck, which pulls our eye. That's our focal point. We have the tree, and the angle of the tree is important. That also pulls our eye around this piece over to the lettering. And the lettering is all curly cues and whatnot, a little bit of gold just to pop it. And then these larger snowflakes tucked in here and there just to fill up a little of that negative space. And so we end up with a really fun holiday sign. You could change this up if you wanted to. make it a fall theme. Have pumpkins sitting in the front of the truck and change the background to whatever you want. Make it more autumnal colors. It'd be an easy design to customize depending on the season.
Skull mirrors.
Skull mirrors. Yes, let's do that. Skull mirrors. That's a great idea. I'm all for the skull thing. I haven't painted a skull in so long.
Corona snowflakes, perfect for 2021.
Yeah, no kidding. So there we go. That is our going home for the holidays. Now I'm going to dry this real quick and then we'll talk about my favorite eraser.
The fact is black.
My fact is black. I don't know. There it is. Got it. It's in my bin. I do like to clean up my graphite lines, and this is what I use. This is a Factus Black 18, and I love this one because I can erase graphite lines on newly painted pieces without wrecking my paint, without damaging all of my hard work, and it easily takes off the graphite. I don't really have to work hard to get it off. And it does clean things up really, really nicely. So you end up with nice crisp lines, crisp finishing, et voila. So remember I was talking about that I have a holly thing down here in the corner. I want to get rid of those graphite lines. Look at this. Gone. And it doesn't hurt the paint at all. Super easy. So even that spatter, that
Sure wish it went this quick when I painted it.
so most of the time,
No glitter, please.
no glitter. Fine. There's no glitter on this piece. Anyway.
What?
No, I don't have any glitter on this piece.
I thought
No,
you did. I thought you...
no, there is no glitter at all. None
What?
whatsoever.
Oh, I thought you would have added some to the snowflakes or something.
Nope, I didn't put any on. Probably because you were around and you don't like glitter.
Probably true.
So there it is. That is our going home for the holiday. Don't forget to sign your work when you're finished. I like using my little liquid gold, this extra fine. It's a fun way to sign things. So how many names do we have left to draw? Three?
I'm gonna switch cameras first.
Okay.
Austin Powers transition.
Give him something techie to play with, and God knows what you're going to get. I really enjoy this piece. It's fun to paint. It's forgiving because you don't have to be perfect about any of it. It's a very rustic looking little truck, and so you can have a lot of fun with it. So Renee is pulling another name, and it is, I love this wheel thing. Ta-da! Deb Antonick, your name got pulled. I'm not sending you brushes because you already have a ton of them, but I will send you this. So I'll finish this up and send it off to you.
She called dibs on that anyway.
I know, so there you go. So you're getting the little red truck sign, which means we still have 3 people to draw for these brushes.
Yeah.
I refuse to send you brushes. She works for Dynasty too. Why should I send her brushes? Besides, I have to send her some stuff anyway. So I'll put the little red truck in. Carrie Seabelt.
There we go. Got it right.
So Carrie, you've got a set of brushes coming to you. I think we might have your shipping information on file. But just in case, go to the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the website. Click on that. Send us a quick message with your shipping information so that we can get your set of brushes out to you.
Oh, there's another one.
There's another one.
Let's close that and clickety clickety.
We have been shipping like mad, so all of the prizes are left, and we're more pins going out this week. I know some of you have started receiving your pins. The membership group, you've started getting your pins. Some of you have had shipments or orders, and your pins were tucked in with that. So those are going out, but we do have more going out this week. So Teresa Casper, Terry, you've got one coming to you. I know I have your shipping information, sweetie, so we'll get that packed up and sent out to you on Monday. I know you're on the server. So, and I think we have one more. Yep, one more for today.
For today.
Yep.
There'll be more later. Wow, 6.
6. Spinning the wheel one last time.
One last time.
Well, this is fun, guys. Hopefully you guys have a really safe and happy holiday. Christmas has been very different for the last couple of years, but hopefully things will look up in the new year. And, oh, Heidi Ferlot. It says Daryl, but I'm pretty sure that's Heidi. So, Heidi, I know that we have your shipping information, so I will get that out to you. I know you're in the servers, so, but even if you just want to send me a quick note, just to make sure I get the right person, click on the little speech bubble on the lower right-hand corner of the homepage and on the website and send us your shipping information. H-E-I-D-I, yeah.
H-E?
I think so. So I will check. But send us a quick email with a hi or a hello, and
Your shipping
if
info.
needs be, send us your shipping information. But yes, I'm pretty sure we have you on the website.
Alrighty.
All right,
I gotta
guys.
check this chat here.
Make sure I haven't missed anybody. Missed any questions?
Yeah. Everybody's saying Merry Christmas and congrats to the winners. And scrolling. I love the fact that it's a touchscreen for this reason. Okay, Merry Christmas, love. Ah! Okay, now they're just typing too fast and I can't scroll fast enough.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Heidi is there.
Oh, excellent.
She says,
And
thank you
it's
so
Heidi.
much. Daryl is my husband.
Okay.
Well, he won then.
Okay, he won. We'll send him brushes. No. He can give them to you.
All right. I'm not seeing any new questions.
Okay.
Everybody saying Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. As it stands right now, there will not be a live until 2022.
Yes.
Except for the members.
Except for the members. So, and that will be the 28th, I believe. It's the Tuesday after the holiday. But if there's any change or if anybody is adverse to having the class on that date, then we will make an adjustment and change it so that it's a more suitable date. But
And it'll be our second year.
and we're going into our second year. We are now officially over the 5,000 mark. I'm so excited.
Yay.
And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, go and click that red button on my YouTube channel and join us every Saturday
I can't keep
for
up with
live. Oh my goodness.
it.
It's a blur. Anyway, that is it for us this week. Everybody have a fabulous Christmas, and we will see you in the new year. I will post on the Facebook page and on the YouTube channel. If you're a member or are subscribed to the channel, you will get a message letting you know when our next live is, and we will post it on Tracy Moreau Live so that you know what's coming up. We've got new patterns going up in the next couple of days. New stencil designs are going up in the new year, and a whole bunch of stuff. But
J.L. Brewer just became a member.
yay! Jeanette, sweetie, you've got a box coming to you. Keep your eyes out, because you remember you won a prize during our December 4th thing.
Yeah.
So there should be a box coming for you very shortly. And
She just
what
became
else?
a member.
Awesome. JL, thanks for joining us. I know you're already part of the website. I'll make sure that you still have access, that you get access to the members download section on the website. We'll take care of that for you today. And everybody else, mwah, we love you. Please stay safe. And we will see you in the new year. Have a happy holiday. He's trying.
I'm trying.
He's trying.
Clickety. There we go.
Clickety.
Bye.
Bye.